All our previous assumptions were set to be altered following the discoveries made regarding his brain. Robin Williams was born in Chicago on July 21, 1951 at St. Luke's Hospital. At first glance, his life appeared to be exceptional. His mother, Lori, had a career as a model, while his father, Robert Williams, held a leadership position at Ford Motor Company. Their residence was spacious, they possessed considerable wealth, and their children had access to all their desires. Robin's environment was unwelcoming, however. His father frequently relocated for professional commitments, while his mother, though kind, maintained a reserved demeanor and upheld a formal atmosphere. Hugs were infrequent. One had to put in effort to attain love. Robin quickly realized the necessity of presenting himself effectively to capture attention. Strive to be both humorous and impactful, being himself was insufficient for him. He would always recall that lesson. At the age of 12, my family relocated to an expansive residence in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, featuring 40 rooms. It was quite large, exceptionally elegant, and remarkably isolating. Robin spent extended periods alone with only the staff, as his father was occupied with work and his mother attended social events. However, he chose not to set it aside and dwell on negativity. He introduced sound into the room to occupy it. In front of the mirror, he engaged in conversations with his imagined companions, created characters, mimicked family members, and constructed entire worlds. The residence transformed into his personal platform. Each room served as a platform for expression, each sound a humorous conclusion. Robin was conducting a performance for ghosts indoors, while the majority of children engaged in activities outside. In that serene residence, where no one dictated what was humorous or not, he started to develop his sense of humor. He acquired the knowledge independently, as the educational institution did not provide assistance. Robin faced challenges in fitting in due to his stature, physique, and eyewear. He faced significant challenges due to the actions of bullies. They ridiculed him, took advantage of him, and physically assaulted him. He returned home with torn clothing and a wounded sense of dignity. Subsequently, a shift occurred. He observed that they would retreat if he elicited laughter from them. He engaged with it when they ceased striking. He acquired influence through a well-timed joke and a skillful impression. He employed humor as a defense mechanism. It not only ensured his safety, but also provided him with a sense of empowerment. He experienced a sense of security when he was able to bring joy to others through laughter. As a result, he became increasingly reliant on humor when others expressed that sentiment, that is, until it evolved into the sole manner in which he understood how to express his true self. There are multiple factors contributing to Robin's sense of humor. They were given to him by his mother. Lori Williams demonstrated remarkable agility in her responses, delivered sharp one-liners, and possessed the ability to conclude a debate with a mere sarcastic glance. She had a unique ability to evoke laughter without elevating her voice, prompting him to study her timing, pauses, and techniques. However, he also observed something more troubling. His mother appeared to radiate joy exclusively during his performances. Robin's smile would diminish if he ceased to be humorous. He acquired the skills necessary to maintain the continuity of the performance. Maintain awareness of your target consistently. Observe your surroundings in the room. Receiving recognition is a significant aspect of one's character. He excelled in his craft, a factor that could lead to his fame, yet it also instilled in him a fear of silence. Significant transformations occurred upon his 16th birthday. Robin commenced his attendance at Redwood High School, following his family's relocation to Tiburon, California. It was at that location that he encountered James Dunn, the acting instructor. Dunn recognized opportunities that others overlooked. Following years of self-defense training, Robin became an active member of the theater department and immediately thrived. In this instance, his sounds and personalities were not unusual. They received commendation. He was able to transform the confusion in his mind into something tangible. His colleagues were astonished by the extent of his capabilities. He appeared as though he might transform into a reserved British butler at any moment. A single individual transforms each inquiry into a presentation. Robin experienced a sense of companionship for the first time. He sensed that someone was observing him. By his final year, he had become the leader of the theater club, rather than merely a member. He was prepared for a more significant position. In 1973, Robin achieved a significant milestone by gaining admission to Juilliard, renowned as one of the premier art institutions globally. He was among the only 2 students that year to gain admission to their prestigious acting school. Christopher Reeve was another individual of note. However, the fame came at a price. Juilliard provided rigorous training in classical acting techniques, encompassing Shakespearean works, breathing exercises, and stage presence etiquette. Robin experienced a multitude of thoughts and emotions simultaneously. He was reluctant to adhere to the prescribed regulations. He intended to destroy them. While others read from the script, he delivered an impromptu speech. The school recognized his intelligence, but was uncertain about how to effectively utilize his abilities. He concluded his tenure after 3 years. He left school in 1976. It was surprising to me that departing from Juilliard felt akin to halting the Olympics during an ongoing competition. However, Robin indicated that remaining would have resulted in his demise. He did not require conformity. He sought liberation. Upon returning to California, he immediately pursued stand-up comedy. He initially performed at the Holy City Zoo in San Francisco, and subsequently at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. His style was exceptionally robust. He was not only humorous, he was genuinely amusing. A Russian taxi driver will arrive shortly. The subsequent character was an extraterrestrial, with a fondness for disco music. His ability to change sounds rapidly was akin to witnessing multiple individuals seamlessly transition within a single person. The audience members not only laughed, they engaged actively and focused intently. Mark Twain and various other comedians took note. Pryor provided assistance to them. Robin exhibited exceptional qualities that were truly remarkable. Attendees departed his performances with expressions of joy, often remarking on the intensity of their laughter. What others were unable to accomplish in an hour, he achieved in just 10 minutes. He traveled to Los Angeles in 1977. He commenced performing at the Comedy Store on Sunset Strip on a daily basis. Television directors sought emerging talent. That is where Gary Marshall discovered him. Marshall had already achieved success with shows like Happy Days. One evening he witnessed Robin's performance and immediately recognized that this individual possessed more than just comedic talent. His distinct qualities led to his selection. Robin Williams' swift ascent commenced with what appeared to be a final attempt at creativity on Happy Days. In 1977, following the release of Star Wars, Gary Marshall's 8-year-old son Scott proposed the idea of incorporating a spaceman into the show. The writers expressed their discontent with it. To determine the writer for the Alien episode, they resorted to drawing lots. However, on February 28, 1978, that unusual thought transformed into My Preferred Orkin. It was intended solely as a dream for Richie Cunningham. Subsequently, Robin Williams arrived to audition. He took a seat in reverse when instructed to do so. Marshall stated that he was the sole outsider who participated in the trial. That pivotal moment transformed the landscape of television. Individuals exhibited extreme enthusiasm. Due to the positive reception from the audience, ABC modified the show by removing the dream element to enhance its realism. The show resulted in a comprehensive spin-off. At the beginning of that year, Mork and Mindy was released, and it gained significant popularity. The situation took everyone by surprise. Mork and Mindy premiered on September 14, 1978, and quickly became a significant success nationwide. In the inaugural season, it attracted an audience of 60 million viewers each week. The program ranked as the 3rd most viewed show in the United States. Following Happy Days, Robin Williams achieved stardom almost immediately. At a rate of $15,000 per episode, he represented an exceptional value, particularly given his ability to generate significant comedic impact independently. In March 1979, his image graced the front cover of Time magazine. Children possessed Mork t-shirts, lunchboxes, coloring books, toys, and additional merchandise. Was ubiquitous. The humor was evident, yet the writers were primarily focused on survival. Many individuals believed that Robin improvised his lines in the moment. The writers expressed significant frustration regarding that falsehood. One individual remarked, "We are drafting Robin's ad-libs until 4 in the morning." Their dedication was evident. "I worked from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. to maintain pace with him." Certain individuals engaged in drug use. Certain individuals, such as David Mish, subsisted on sugar. Robin approached the situation with careful planning and consideration. Upon completing a single reading, he had memorized the entire content. He exhibited an intense energy during practice, yet delivered exceptional performances when the cameras were on, precisely appropriate. His disorder was precise. His talent was undeniable, making it impossible for Hollywood to overlook him. Williams secured his initial significant film role in 1980 in Popeye. The allocated budget for the project was $20 million, and filming took place in Malta, where an entire town was constructed, which remains accessible for tourists to visit. The film generated nearly $50 million in revenue. However, it received largely unfavorable reviews from critics. Williams humorously referred to the challenging shoot as Stullen Altman. Nonetheless, it demonstrated his capability to lead a film. He consistently shone, regardless of whether the writing or direction met expectations. Although Popeye did not achieve significant success, it paved the way for the opportunities that shaped his career. Mrs. Doubtfire, Good Will Hunting, and the Dead Pulpit Society. As his career advanced, however, a more troubling issue was undermining him. During her time on Mork and Mindy, Williams was consuming a gram of cocaine every 2 days. In 1991, when he disclosed this to a physician, the physician was skeptical due to the prevalence of drug use in Hollywood during that period. However, friends recognized the severity of the situation. Comedian Mike Binder recalls an incident from the early 1980s, when Robin glanced into his pocket and discovered a gram. Upon their request for a substance, they proceeded to the restroom and returned with the vial devoid of contents. He required a considerable amount of time. The property featured a theater, a library, an art room, and a wine cellar. However, it ultimately faced demolition. "I am unable to continue making payments for it," he informed Parade magazine that he had generated over $130 million in his business, but he was reducing operations to ensure sustainability. He maintained a remarkable sense of humor. In March 2009, Robin Williams faced a life-threatening situation. At the age of 57, he was on his Weapons of Self-Destruction comedy tour when he began to experience shortness of breath. It was more than mere fatigue. Doctors discovered his heart was not functioning. Underwent open heart surgery, a procedure that carried significant risks. He underwent surgery to replace his aortic valve, during which the surgical team also addressed his mitral valve and attempted to correct his irregular heartbeat. To safeguard his brain, it was necessary to halt his heart, induce anesthesia, and lower his body temperature. The situation was indeed quite severe. 2 years prior, his brother had passed away following a comparable surgical procedure. He carried that fear with him. The surgery was successful, yet there remained scars that were not visible to others. Many individuals who undergo these surgeries may experience depression or even develop PTSD. Due to factors such as shock, anesthesia, or the presence of small blood clots in the brain, certain individuals may experience memory loss or alterations in cognitive function. He survived, yet Williams was forever altered following that experience. Following a 4-year hiatus, he made an attempt to return to television with a series titled The Crazy Ones. The initiative commenced positively in 2013. He starred alongside Sarah Michelle Gellar in the film, and the advertisements were widely disseminated. The enchantment was short-lived, however. A significant number of viewers discontinued their engagement with the show after just 22 episodes in May 2014. This represented a significant setback for Williams. He believed he had not succeeded. He confided in a friend privately, stating, "My image is displayed on billboards throughout the city, and the burden is entirely mine." He was struggling after experiencing 2 divorces and the cancellation of his show. He was compelled to sell his $29.9 million Napa Ranch due to financial difficulties. He felt a profound sense of devastation and shame, uncertain about his remaining opportunities in the industry. His confidence began to diminish rapidly, and the situation deteriorated further on the set of Night at the Museum. Secret of the Tomb. Robin started to overlook his lines. Such a concept did not exist previously. He would create entire scenes spontaneously. At this point, he had some uncertainty regarding each take. In the late hours, he would reach out to the director and inquire, "Am I performing poorly? What is the situation?" The makeup artist mentioned that he would seek comfort in her embrace each night. It has not yet become clear. No individual was identified by a name. Due to the circumstances, he was experiencing significant mental strain. Ultimately, his wife Susan discovered that he was affected by Lewy body dementia throughout his entire being. At that moment, it was unclear why Robin, known for his exceptional intellect and comedy, was experiencing difficulties with communication and thought processes. The situation at home was significantly more challenging. He could not find a moment of rest. He experienced distressing nightmares during the night. In order to ensure his wife's safety, he relocated his bed to a different room due to his tendency to scream, flail, or act out his dreams. He occasionally confined himself to his stepson's room to ensure that no one was harmed. It was beyond merely inadequate sleep. A notable indication of Lewy body dementia was the presence of REM sleep behavior disorder. The challenging nights adversely affected his days. His thoughts became disorganized. He experienced intense panic attacks and overwhelming feelings of dread. He once transported his valuable watches to a friend's residence in a sock for protection. He believed that individuals were at risk. He suspected that an individual was trailing his friends. The duration of these cycles can extend up to 48 hours on occasion. He found himself in a situation from which he could not escape. Moreover, he was aware that something was amiss. In May 2014, he received a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease. The explanation provided was not comprehensive. He was exhibiting more than just a tremor. He was experiencing intense thoughts, feeling overwhelmed, and struggling to remember simple details. He repeatedly inquired with his doctors, "Am I schizophrenic? Do I have Alzheimer's?" They declined. He was aware that they were overlooking an important element. He was aware of it. His wife described the situation as reminiscent of a game of whack-a-mole. Once one sign was removed, another promptly appeared. Even levodopa, the primary medication for Parkinson's, provided limited assistance. At times it exacerbated the quality of his dreams. That should have demonstrated the appropriate course of action. Medications for Parkinson's disease are often ineffective for individuals diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. Robin's condition deteriorated rather than improved. Anticipate an increase in fear, terror, and chaos. Susan witnessed the departure of the individual she cherished. He exhibited clarity on certain days, while appearing frozen on others. "I experienced fear," he vocalized during his sleep at night. At times he would remain motionless throughout the day, absorbed in his own reflections. He repeatedly inquired about his sanity, and regrettably, his assessment was accurate. Over 40 indicators suggested that he was experiencing Lewy body dementia, yet they went unnoticed until it was too late.